Hi, my name's Gage, and I'm here with Dan, of course, for episode number 34 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Dan, how are you doing?
Good, man. 34. Getting up there.
Yeah, I'm excited for episode number 50. That'll be a cool milestone. But yeah, 34, we're definitely getting up there.
Yeah, we're 52 the whole year.
Yeah, a whole year would be sweet. Lots of people joining us. Dave, thanks for tuning in. Kateri, hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. Thanks for joining us. Doug, nice to see you here. Glad that it's a bonus. Lady Veronica, thanks for joining us. Ross, of course. George. And I'm recognizing most of the names in here, but for anyone new here, Dan and I do these town halls every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And we do these town halls to make sure that we're in tune with our users and make sure we're regularly using the product and can get feedback from you guys. So if you guys have any questions for us or have anything you want us to touch on, just let us know in the chat and we'll do our best to cover it throughout our town hall. And then of course our pillars, which I make sure I cover every week, are ease of use, stability, and professional looking streams. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is probably the product for you. And the first subject we're going to talk about is guest comment. I could have made that title a bit more concise. Guest comment visibility is coming hopefully tonight. Maybe tomorrow morning, and Dan's going to talk a bit about what's involved there.
Yeah. So and you said you have some pictures as well, so we'll maybe slot those in
at the appropriate time.
Yeah. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know, because we did get that last week, a lot of people didn't know this, and totally fair enough. You can see, like, say you're live on YouTube, you can see the comments on the side of the screen in StreamYard, but right now your guests don't see them. And part of that, it was like we've done that since we were founded. We've always had it like that, and we were kind of hesitant to ever add it, just because it can distract your guests, and like. We kind of figured as at least part of our job to make sure like the show goes as smooth as possible. So if guests are continually distracted and there's nothing you can do about it, it's not great. So we've really tried to think through like, okay, what's the best way to do this? So there's a few things. So when we release this change, your guests will be able to see comments, but at any time you can just turn it off.
Should I show where the button is, Dan?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, so nice. Yeah. Hopefully this is intuitive. This isn't actually what the screen looks like. But if you're familiar with the studio, it should make sense. If you just go into the comments section at the bottom, you'll see a little cogwheel that says chat settings. And then, yeah, there's just a little switch to turn off and on the ability for guests to see the comments.
Yeah. And don't look right now because, again, it's not up yet. But when it is, yeah, it'll be in the chat section at the bottom right corner. You can turn comments on or off for your guests. Now, from the guest experience, oh man, nice. Okay, so on the guest experience, right now it looks like what is on the left. So they just see like, oh, there's a private chat and they can talk with you, but that's it. Now, when they come into the studio, your guests will see like there's two tabs, two options, and it'll default to private chat. And that's just because we wanted it for the guests that are, kind of coming in, they're a bit nervous. I think the main focus is let's have them on the show communicating with you and not be distracted by comments. But for anyone a little more tech savvy, just kind of looking around like, how do I see the comments? You just change that tab and then they'll see the comments unless, of course, you turn them off. So by default, they'll still be in like the private chat section, but they can view the live comments if they're feeling up for it. And if they never click on that and they're not looking for the live comments, they'll never be distracted by them. So I think that'll work quite well. And then mobile is basically the same. It's just for guests, they can pull up the chat and they can see same thing. There's two tabs, they can see the live comments. So
yeah, I haven't gotten the chance to see it much myself, to be honest. But from the little that I saw today, it seems like it's pretty intuitive, and that it'll be nice for both sides, for people that don't want guests to see them and for people that do want guests. I think it'll be easy to manage either way. And even the people that don't want guests to see them, I think there are times where it's a nice thing to have. So I know that I, depending on the situation, can go one way or the other.
Yeah, and one other thing to add is that we're going to default it to on. So once this is released, like Gage said, tonight or tomorrow, it's on. So as soon as you do your next broadcast, your guests will see the comments if they go into that tab, but you can turn it off right away.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm losing you for a sec here, Gage.
Yeah, I think our internet might be struggling a little bit.
He's having some internet issues. Hopefully you guys can still hear me fine.
I think our internet is taking a hit. I can hear you a little bit. Can you hear me?
You're still hurting, Gage.
I can't tell if it's on your end or my end, but hopefully people can hear me. I'm going to move on to the next subject. Thank you, Joe, for joining us. Jason, nice to see you here as well.
Not very well. Okay, now you're better.
I think we might have recovered. I think something might have been downloading in the background on someone on our network, but I think we're good now. Let's see. We have our StreamYard shows. So Ross goes live every Wednesday on LinkedIn, so make sure you tune into that. And then we also have, I'll try to turn up the banner. We also have Rob. I'll try to say his name correctly this time because I've noticed that I've been saying it incorrectly for a very long time. Balasavas, I think is how it's properly pronounced, is going to be live Wednesdays in the StreamYard community. As I think he's already up to show number 4, maybe is the next one. So I've definitely been enjoying them. So if you're interested in being a guest, make sure you reach out to Rob. And yeah, if you guys have any questions you want us to cover, be sure to let us know in the chat. We'll just take a peek over here. Everyone's saying they can hear us both. I don't know, maybe it was just a connection between the two of us. Something strange was definitely happening for us for a second.
I'm sure you probably couldn't hear or see me very well either. Eh?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Lady says, I vote yes on 10 people at a time. We are considering raising that, actually. So I can't say what the number will be for sure, but we are definitely considering raising the limit because it does seem to be very important to people. And it might come relatively soon. We're sort of prioritizing things right now. So depending on how a few other things line up, you never know. It might happen. It could happen sooner. It could happen later, but it's definitely on our radar. Lady Veronica says she's still waiting on LinkedIn Live to grant access. Yeah, I'm hoping that relatively soon they open up a bit more because there's not too many people that have access right now, and it is a bit difficult to get access.
Yeah.
Manny says, guests will see the comments, but will it be able to show them in the screen too? So that's a good question. Right now, no. So, or probably not ever actually, is we want the host to be in control of the stream. So we don't want people randomly putting up comments. So only the host has the ability to place them on screen. The guests will see all of the comments, but they won't be able to show them on screen. There is the unofficial option that we don't suggest unless you know the person well and trust them, but you can both log into the same account if you both want to have host controls. Just Ashar, it is an option. 8 would be good if 10 is too much for you guys.
Just every couple of weeks, increase it by 1.
Michael says he votes for 10, especially for after show. Yep, absolutely. Hefe or Jeff, I'm not sure which, probably Hefe. Is it a performance issue to have 10 active participants? Surprisingly, no. I can see why you would think that, but I mean, it adds a bit to the overhead, but when there's that many people, everyone's sending less data, so it shouldn't be too much of a difference. It's definitely going to be more intense than just going by yourself or just having one person, but it's not going to be too much of an impact. What do you think about that, Dan?
Yeah, so there's like the performance of your computer as the user, and then our machines as well. And yeah, it's not impacted too much. A little.
That's a good point to clarify though. So on StreamYard's end, it won't be impacted. Like
a little bit.
Well, I guess somewhat, but I mean, it's not. Yeah. The more there are on the panel, the smaller the panel will be. Yes, that's right.
Like individuals will be smaller.
Yeah, everyone will just shrink into position.
Yeah.
RJ, thanks for tuning in. I'd be curious to get your feedback when you have a chance. RJ, we've improved, I think you said it was relatively recently you added some of the labels for accessibility, right, Dan?
Yeah, I want to say it was yesterday.
So yeah, RJ, if you get a chance, see if things have improved at all, and let us know when you have a second. 3D Printing says, I love the mute button for guests. Handy.
Cool.
Yep, that was definitely a feature request. I know that was an important one for Michael, so I think he was happy for that as well. Another one that's been coming up more and more frequently is volume controls for guests, which I definitely understand if your guest is on, especially on a phone where they don't really know how to change it potentially. That would be a nice feature. Don't know when we'll add it, but it's definitely on our radar.
I'd be curious too. I don't know if you already know the answer, if we should ask people watching the stream, but if you only need to be able to decrease it if somebody's really loud, or if there's also the case where someone's phone is really quiet and you need to like amplify that one a lot.
I think it's both. I think they just want to be able to change both.
Got it.
Just ask Shar, look forward to the notification of those that are waiting backstage. I'm curious, are you hoping for an audible sound? Is that what you're referring to, Shar? Creator Spotlight says, how about comments going across the bottom guests? Maybe make them semi-transparent.
People.
So what was that, Dan?
So I think he's referring to covering, like when I'm down at the bottom, it kind of covers half my video.
Oh, I see. Yes, that would be a nice addition. I'm not sure when we'll get to that, but
yeah, like we've considered just shifting them up, but it does also cause some issues for people that have really custom and nice overlays, just moving things around like that. So
semi-transparent is an interesting idea. I'd be curious. I'd have to see a drawing of what it looks like to get a better sense.
Not bad.
But yeah, that would be. I haven't actually thought of that. That would be a pretty good way to handle it. Kateri says, I wish you would make it so those of us that are on the panel can post to YT from StreamYard. That'd be an interesting feature. So if I understand you right, do you mean like say you're a guest on someone's stream and that you would stream it to YouTube as well? Is that what you mean? You think is that how you interpreted?
Post a comment.
Oh.
But yeah, that's my guess as well.
Comment, yeah. I guess that is something we could also add. The unfortunate part is we'd have to have it where you'd have to be logged into YouTube. But
yeah, we'd probably ask, like, say you were a guest, and assuming this is what we're talking about, and you want to be able to post a comment, or like you said, a stream.
Yeah.
Either way, we could just have it like, okay, you have to create a StreamYard account then, so we can actually log you into YouTube and know who you are, so you could post it. And then if the guest has logged in, then we can definitely do that. Yeah. So maybe let us know if that's what you're referring to, posting comments or like sending the stream to your account.
I'm guessing you're right about the comments. That should be relatively easy to do, and I could see it being a nice feature. So yeah, we're certainly open to that one.
Yeah.
Spectrum says, is it possible to do away with the letting invitees in feature? It would be great if they can just come right in.
Auto join.
Oh, auto joining. It's certainly possible. If we did it, it would probably be a setting or something to just automatically have them join. There is the issue of like, we always want to have the host have full control. So there is the potential of abuse for that, if someone maybe just refreshing the page and constantly messing up the host's output of the stream, which would be unfortunate. I mean, you probably shouldn't be sending invite links to people that are going to be doing that to your stream, though. So I do understand that point. But if we did add that, it would definitely not be a full changeover. We'd probably add it as a setting. But yeah, how do you feel about that one, Dan?
Yeah, I definitely agree that we wouldn't make that the default. But for the reasons you said, the host kind of loses control then.
Yeah.
But I get the reason why some people would want it, especially if you're like doing something else. Like I think, and this might be the same case, if you're doing some kind of art and you're not looking at the screen, then you want to have either let people in automatically or have some other mechanism to let you know, even while you're not looking, that hey, someone's here. Yeah, I totally get it. I'm not sure the best way to handle it, but
Patrick says, what about streaming a pre-recorded video in real time? So technically you can do this with the screen sharing feature if you really need to. You could open it up in a Chrome tab, and then there's an option to share audio when you do the screen share. We do plan on adding a feature at some point that like right now you can upload short clips that, as long as they're under 30 seconds, as an overlay and play an intro or outro video that way. But I think at some point we will add a feature for long form video that makes it a bit easier to just share like a large file you have on your computer. BGS says, is there a way for the host to remove a guest from the studio? No, you can remove them from the stream like this. So now it's just me and Dan's below. But as far as fully kicking them out of the studio, not yet. We've definitely gotten the feedback that that's necessary, especially we don't recommend it, but there are people that just throw out the invite link in their YouTube chat and things like that. And then it becomes a problem of being able to get people into the stream. The other feedback that does actually make a bit more sense for why you might want it is sometimes people, like a guest that's joining you, gets a bit confused and has multiple tabs. And instead of having to go back and forth with them to explain what's going on, just being able to remove one of their tabs, it'd be helpful for that. So at some point it will be added.
I actually have a follow-up question as well, because like you said, a few people have asked for this one. So anyone out there that wants it, I'm curious if it would be, you just want the ability to kick someone out. So basically, like Gage could just remove me right now, but then I can come right back in, which would, I think, solve some cases like the one you just mentioned. But I'm wondering if people also need like a kick and ban from this broadcast or something that's, it kicks them out and they're not getting back in. So let me know if that's a much needed thing as well, or if just kicking them out once is enough.
RJ says, I like the accessibility features you've added. All of the buttons have been labeled. Awesome. We did it correctly. Michael, I would like comments not blocking the guest in a 3-person show. Yep, at some point it will be addressed. Hefe says, is the basic plan going to be taken away? The upgrade pop-up was a bit confusing. So I'm guessing you mean the free plan. So no, we have no plans of taking away the free version. It's just whenever you try to use a feature that's part of the paid plan, it just says that you have to upgrade, but it's not going away. Patrick would like a green screen feature. Well, basic for free. Oh, where basic's not going to be part of it. The free version is going to stay, though we're going to continue adding features to it, but what you see now for the differences of the free version and the basic version are probably going to continue, at least in that spirit. They're going to be about what they are now.
Yeah, like I guess one thing, because I know people asked about it, like on our pricing page, we say, we might add broadcast limits to the free plan. So just to kind of address that, if that's sort of what the question is about, we want to give away as much as we possibly can. Like that's kind of what we're all about. So yeah, we'll keep adding things to the free plan, and we really don't want to have any kinds of limits. We just sort of have that there in case we have.
They're mostly to be to stop abuse, like if there's
like
tons of 24/7 streams or things like that. But if we ever do introduce limits, the point of them will be to stop that. So we always want to make sure the free version is like someone that just needs a live streaming tool, that it's more than enough for you to regularly do live streams. So that's sort of the criteria.
Yeah, and then if you have a more professional show and you really want to look good, that's what the basic plan or the professional is for.
Hey, Brad, thanks for joining us. Barb says, audio volume control really needed both ways.
Got it.
Shar mentioned that, yes, an audible sound for the guest joining. Co-host removing a guest as well. Yep. That is, if you're both logged into the same account, that's technically possible, as far as just removing them from the feed. Michael says, I think having comments full screen would be a great feature as well, with no video feeds. That'd be a large comment. I'd have to think of what that would actually look like.
Well, you got multiple, right?
Oh, I guess if you showed, multiple comments. Yeah. Or maybe just a big comment. You could have a cool background or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be cool. I'd be curious, Michael, if that's what you mean. If it's like a stream of comments, like you're basically just showing the comments in the video stream, or if it's a theme this is a big comment.
JEK says we can't play another video in a new tab with sound because it will echo. So if you just wear headphones like I'm wearing, you won't run into that issue. And even without headphones, it should still. It depends what your setup's like, but it should still work. I would definitely recommend using headphones, but as long as you have headphones, you won't get an echo. RJ says yes, an audible sound would be great. As a blind person, I do not know when someone is waiting backstage. Yep, that's probably an issue, or definitely would be an issue.
I know there's other things we can do as well, just from an accessibility standpoint, like when someone joins, make it kind of an alert for anyone who can't see.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's other options as well there. Need to figure out how to do that properly, but
3D Printing says, yes, seeing comments is a great idea. No need to have YouTube chat in the side window. They also need to comment back to chat. Yes, I think it will be a useful feature. Dustmite says, you get a good deal on your couches, 2 for 1. I think it was part of a set.
That's awesome. Yeah, we got questions about that last time.
TV, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Hovens Cronistas, maybe. Good night, we're the only Brazilian channel using StreamYard. Well, we appreciate you using StreamYard. I don't think you're the only one. I actually have had quite a few conversations with Brazilians in our customer support chat. So I'm guessing there's a few, but that's awesome that you're one of them. Michael says, I would love to have pin posts, so if a comment is good, I can pin it and post it when my guest is not talking. I agree that that would be useful. TB Hoven says, we want to know when the platform will be charged in, I think that's the Brazilian currency. I honestly don't know how to pronounce it, reals or something.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I don't know when we'd add it. I mean, you can pay as is, right? Doesn't the credit card just convert it? But I would be curious to know more information. If you want to email us about how you're actually paying for it now, I would be curious.
Yeah, like is it just we need to list the price in other currencies, or?
Yeah, or are you not able to pay? I think it works because we do have quite a few users from Brazil, so I think it does work. But yeah, obviously, seeing the price in the correct currency would be useful. Michael, a co-host to help wrangle comments. Yes. There are a lot of comments tonight. TV Hoven says, will you increase the number of people live? If you caught us a bit earlier, we are considering it. So there will most likely be an increase in the number of people that you can have inside the stream. Hefe agrees that he wants a kick and ban. Spectrum says, once they have the link, guests should be able to come in. It is hard when you're reading chat or working to keep checking. Maybe a chime bell when they come in. All right, thank you for the feedback. We do have there's quite a few different types of users now. Early on, this wasn't as much of an issue because it was almost always pre-planned shows where people would set up an interview or something like that. But if you don't know when people are joining you, I definitely understand why that's a wanted feature. Hey, Eileen, thanks for joining us.
Hey.
Dale says, what kind of guests are they inviting?
Well,
if you don't yeah, if you don't know who's going to join, I can see why it's necessary. But yeah, probably good to try to keep it to people that you can trust and not have to kick them out. But
yeah, I think the use case, Dale, or one of the big ones is people are just posting the guest link in their stream, so anyone watching it can pop in, which could definitely cause some trouble.
Yeah. Eileen finally stayed up late enough to see us this Sunday. Well, we appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in, Eileen.
Right on. Is Eileen on the East Coast?
Yeah, I think she's Philadelphia, if I remember. Let me know, Eileen. Is it Philadelphia? I think I'm right. I think it's Philadelphia. Thank you, Lady Cat. That's very kind of you. Let's see what else we have here.
That's good.
Joshua wants 4K. He'll be the happiest man alive. 1080 will probably come before 4K. Let's get 1080 first. 1080 is in our plans.
Yeah. a lot of it too, like just to kind of riff on that a bit, 1080, it's sort of a balance of like, we can do it, we could release it today sort of thing. It's, we really want to make sure that when we do it, we've optimized sort of the guest and host side of things so that you're not uploading like too much bandwidth, and that's really optimal. So
that's a good point, actually, because people probably wonder like, oh, why don't we just add it? And it's not as simple as it sounds, or I mean, it is as simple as it sounds. Like, we could just switch it to 1080, but as soon as you switch it to 1080, yeah, your guests are going to be downloading more information when you're streaming with them. So we want to make sure that we have sophisticated ways to handle that and be able to have them pull a lower quality feed potentially at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, one thing we've talked about before is that we've kind of written all of our video tech ourselves, so we can sort of like tweak every little thing, but there's a lot of tweaking to get that quality high without, you know, sacrificing anything else. But it's definitely possible. 4K, I don't know. I don't know if that'll come, Joshua. That's a lot of bandwidth.
It would be a ways out. 4K is,
yeah, that's a lot of bandwidth.
It's a lot of data going out.
I can't remember how much it actually is, but I think it's like 40 megabits per second. Or
it's a lot. I don't even know how many platforms accept it. I think YouTube might be the only one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I find it wild that YouTube, you gotta hats off to YouTube for even storing 4K video. Like, I think an hour of 4K footage, it costs like $80 a year to store. So it's like they probably have people just uploading hours and hours of 4K footage. It must cost so much.
Yeah. Well, I think about us, because as you guys might imagine, Gage and I, we're always testing different platforms, right? So I probably have 1,000 live stream, unlisted or private videos on YouTube just from testing stuff. But yeah, I mean, they're storing that. That's a lot. That's a big cost. Fortunately, Google's pretty profitable.
Yeah, Google's doing all right. I don't think they're sweating it too hard, but yeah, it is a lot. TV Hobans, when we will be able to upload videos. So you can upload clips. So you can upload clips that are under 30 seconds for intro and outro videos. We'll play one at the end here for YouTube because it is essentially the end. It is past the end, but I'll make sure I didn't miss anything too essential. But yeah, you can upload MP4 files as overlays is the way to do that, and then also screen share. I'm definitely not going to be able to reach all of these, but thank you everyone for tuning in. I don't think there's anything too essential. So yeah, stay tuned for comments. Guest seeing comments should be rolled out hopefully this evening, maybe tomorrow morning. Hopefully you guys like that change. I know that I'm pretty excited for it, just because I am a guest in quite a few streams, and I know that sometimes it would be nice to be able to see the comments because it is sort of cumbersome having to open up YouTube at the same time. But this was, let me grab my overlay here, episode number 34 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Make sure you catch us next week, same time, same place. Thanks, guys.
See you next week, everyone.